Hi, my name is Sheena Perrell. I am the author of 11 novels, but I also write for magazines and websites. Today I'm taking a break from writing blogs and the Spooky Stitches knitting podcast to show you one of my contracts so that you, as a writer, have a better idea of what you're looking for the first time you get a contract for your writing. Caveat, I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. I'm not going to be breaking down specific wording in this contract for that reason. I'm just going to be showing you the types of information that you'll find in a contract. If you have questions about what the wording means in a contract, you should always contact your agent or lawyer. What we're looking at today is called a boilerplate contract. This means that it hasn't been altered in any way. They just fill in the blanks and send it over for signatures. We haven't negotiated anything. This is the same contract that they send out to all of their freelance writers. And that's the second thing. This is a freelance contract, which means that I'm not represented by anyone. I wrote to the magazine with a pitch, they accepted, and now we're just determining the specifics. Because this is a magazine contract, it's a lot shorter than, say, a contract with an agent or with a publisher. The bigger the house, the bigger the contract. This one is short, but it has all of the relevant bits in it, so we're just going to scroll through and see what there is. I'm not going to take too long on the individual parts, so if you want to read anything that's on the screen, I recommend watching the video through once and then going back and pausing as necessary so you can read the actual contract. I have redacted personal information here just because I'm sharing this online. Up at the top, you can see where the publisher's logo would be, their address, my contact information, all that good stuff. Over here on the left, we have the date that they sent out the contract, how much I'm going to get paid, the non-use fee, and when the article is due. The non-use fee is really important. Magazines and websites change quickly, and especially in the last 15 years, they've had a lot of upsets. So while things might be fine one day, you might get an email the next saying that the publication is closing, or your editor is changing, or all kinds of things. That non-use fee is how much they're going to pay you if you turn in a perfectly good article that they don't publish for whatever reason. This fee is specific to people who write for magazines and websites, and sometimes anthologies or collections, but that's very rare. You're not going to find this on a contract for a novel, for example. And the fact that it is 25% of the total fee, that's pretty common. You're usually not going to see it any higher than about 50%. Between 25 and 50 is pretty typical. The due date is totally reasonable. It's something I discussed with my editor ahead of time, so there's no surprises there. This first paragraph is just kind of an introduction. It says who I am, who the publisher is, and it also specifies that I'm writing for their website and not the print magazine. Again, I knew that going into this. I discussed it with my editor in advance, so that's totally fine. Section 1 is the parameters that I have to meet. This shows the word count, the subject matter, and states that I have to provide a specific number of images to go along with the article and what type of resolution that we're looking at. This is my 6th or 7th article for this website, so I already knew that information going in. There aren't any changes, totally fine there. Section 2 talks about the due date and how I'm turning in the final piece. Now, paragraph 3 is payment. This is very important, especially with magazine and website articles. In my case, they mail me a check the day that the article goes live on their website, but other magazines have other policies, so make sure that you read this part very carefully. Are you getting paid on acceptance, on publication? Is there another benchmark that you have to hit before they pay you? This should also specify the amount. Here they just point you to the top of the contract and also the currency, which is USD. If I were writing for publication in Canada or the UK, this would be very important, especially in conjunction with the pay date, because exchange rates can vary dramatically on a daily basis sometimes. Okay, next we have section 4, which talks about termination. These are all the reasons that this contract can be voided or canceled, so make sure that you really understand this part and meet all of the requirements. Now we're into section 5, and that's the rights clause. This is where the legal jargon can get really tricky, so make sure that you talk to a lawyer or an agent if something is unclear. Like I said, I am not a lawyer. If you get a contract that raises the hair on the back of your neck or uses a lot of legal terms you don't understand, you should 100% contact a lawyer and have them explain it in normal English or whatever language you speak. Never sign a contract that you don't understand. That's the one piece of legal advice I'm going to give you. Always, always read and understand your contract before you sign it. Section 5 here splits the rights into exclusive and non-exclusive rights. So those are the rights that I'm giving to the publisher and the rights that I'm either keeping for myself or that I'm sharing with the publisher. If something is non-exclusive, it means I can use it elsewhere. But make sure that you really understand those exclusive rights before moving forward and make sure that you're okay with them. That might be something that you're able to negotiate depending on the situation. I apologize for the background noise. If you're familiar with my channel, then you know that I live near an airport. Unfortunately, I cannot control when planes take off and land, so I'm trying to work around it. So under the non-exclusive section, it specifies that I need to provide a bio and a headshot. This is pretty common. They usually publish it with the article. And for me, they already have it on file, so there's nothing for me to worry about there. In the next line, it also says that they can use my work for advertising, which means if I submit a photo, they can use it to make a Facebook ad or something, and maybe a quote from the article to promote the magazine, something like that. This is pretty common, and especially if you're signing a contract for a novel, there's going to be some kind of clause like this so that the publisher can promote your work. If they don't promote it, it doesn't sell, and if it doesn't sell, then neither of you can make money, and nobody wants that. Paragraph 6 just says how long they're going to hold on to these rights. In this case, it's for the life of the copyright, which is my lifetime plus 80 years in the US. If I were submitting a novel, I would not be okay with giving them exclusive rights to the book to one publisher for that long. But for a 500-word article, that's fine by me. There's not a lot of other markets I could sell this article to, so it's fine. Again, this is not legal advice. This is just my opinion as an individual. Paragraph 7 states that I'm the author, I'm not violating any copyrights, any sources that need to be cited, like for images, have been cited, and I have permission to use those images. Paragraph 8 just confirms that I am an independent contractor / freelancer. I don't work for them, I'm just doing this on my own. And in paragraph 9, we have just some general stuff, mostly related to the fact that the publisher is located in Colorado, so the contract is written using Colorado law as a guide, and I agree to abide by those laws. Lastly, at the bottom, we have a space for signatures, one for me and one for the rep from the publisher. And that's it. That's a pretty basic freelance contract for a magazine or website. The contracts I have had for knitting patterns are also very similar, and my book contracts follow the same formula. They were just a lot longer. Your contract might have the clauses in a different order, or it might be longer or shorter. You do want to make sure that the different parts are there, though, especially if they're related to how and when you get paid, what rights you're signing over, and how you get them back. I hope that you found this video helpful. Remember, this is not legal advice, and if you take away nothing else from this video, it's to read and understand your contract before you sign it. I don't care if it's for your writing, the lease on an apartment, or whatever. Always read and understand the contract, even if you have to sit there for 2 hours going over it with a fine-tooth comb. It's also perfectly okay to say, I need to have a lawyer look at this. I will get back to you. Don't let anyone pressure you into signing something that you aren't comfortable with. And remember, in most cases, you can negotiate or ask for clarification to be in writing as part of the contract. So that's it. If you like this video, I've got some writing and freelance vlogs up in the corner, and you can check back every other Wednesday-ish. And I post my podcast where I talk about knitting, writing, and ghost stories. So stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope you have something soft and fluffy to cuddle with. Ciao!